Okay, so today we are here to talk about Maine's Secretary of State, Shenna Bellows, making a decision to remove Donald Trump off of the Maine ballot, the 2024 primary ballot. Now, this is pending a potential appeal from the state Supreme Court, but she's basically using Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to justify this decision. And of course, that's basically the disqualification clause, stating that no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislature, or as an executive or judicial office of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. For Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such a disability. So let's be serious. Let's have a frank conversation. I'm not a Donald Trump fan. I think he's deplorable. I think he's sick. I think he's tasteless. He's trash. But at the end of the day, we use a system called the Electoral College to vote in our president. And he won the Electoral College in 2016, despite losing the popular vote by a couple of million votes. But he was elected. I don't think that he should be allowed to be president again. I think that if the Supreme Court decides to rule on whether or not he is disqualified because of the Insurrection Act, I think that's fine. I don't think that this is something that we should be taking up on a state-by-state basis. And the reason why I say that is simple. I don't like the precedent that it sets. There are a lot of legislatures out there that are controlled by the Democratic Party, and there are a lot that are controlled by the Republican Party. There are a lot of Secretary of State offices that are also controlled by parties, and the entire state apparatus is pretty much one party. You can go through states and see that. I don't like the idea of people being removed off the ballot because of things that are not already prosecuted. Do I think that Trump contributed to insurrection? Absolutely. I don't think that that's debatable. I think that his lack of movement on the issue when it was happening, when people were storming the Capitol, him sitting down in the war room and in his private residence, watching this unfold and being happy and not really stopping it, not really taking any actionable steps to stop it, to give a very tepid, go home now, we love you, to people who had just, defaced the citadel of our democracy. I think all of those things means that he was a part of that day. Does that hold up in court? I don't know. I will say that from a political perspective, someone who doesn't want to see Donald Trump win and who wants to see the United States Senate definitely tilt in the Democratic favor and the House as well, I don't think that it's a smart move, just from the optics. Trump feeds off of being the victim, and in every situation he has portrayed himself to be the victim, and I think that this is just going to continue to go more into that lane, and I think that he's going to benefit from that with that segment of the population that likes to identify with being a victim, and that's okay. I'm not judging. I just think that it's not the right move. I think that if the United States House of Representatives and the United States Senate wanted to bar him from being president, they would have done it when they had that opportunity. The Republicans in Congress, specifically in the Senate, did not want to convict, and they said that this should play out legally, and now it's playing out legally, and they're not happy with that. So I think that this is very interesting. I think that this is going to be something that we should stay on top of. I know we all know this is going to be a close election. The Wall Street Journal just released a forecast, and it's basically a forecast that was a combination of ratings from the Cook Political Report, Inside Elections with Nathan Gonzalez and Larry Sabato's crystal ball. This is with the University of Virginia Center for Politics, and you can see the outlook. This is not looking much different than any other election cycle going into it. There's already some states, the typical usual suspects, that are likely or safe for one particular party, the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, California, giving you solid blue, and then a whole lot of the middle of the country going red, with the exception of, I would say, Colorado and some of the Midwest. And then you can see the Northeast trending blue as well. So far, the toss-ups are going to be the states of Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Nevada. None of these states should be surprising to anyone. I think the only one that could potentially be removed from this would be Georgia, and I do believe that's going to be completely dependent on if Donald Trump is the nominee. If Donald Trump is the nominee, I think Georgia will stay in this column. If it's someone else, then I think Georgia's probably going to be a lighter shade of red. Meanwhile, I'm watching Pennsylvania because the governor there did an amazing job with the I-95 collapse and the rebuilding of that interstate. That's a major thoroughfare, bipartisan work to get that done quickly. And I do think that that's going to give the Democrats a little bit of grace. Plus, I think John Fetterman is just a dope individual who calls out BS regardless of party. And I think that that's going to help the Democratic brand in Pennsylvania as well. Wisconsin's going to be interesting. It's always going to be interesting. I can't for the life of me believe that Ron Johnson was voted in again. But hey, here we are. And then watching the southwest states of Arizona and Nevada, I think Nevada has proven its light blue hue over the course of the last 8 years. 2020 going for Joe Biden by about 2.5 points. Same thing for Hillary Clinton back in 2016. And then, Barack Obama winning it by roughly 5 points. I think it's going to stay its light blue hue. Arizona's going to be very interesting, but I'm going to side with the Democrats here, strictly because abortion rights are on the ballot. And I think that that's going to be enough to motivate the moderate voters to tilt towards the Democrats, those swing independent voters that can go either way. I think that that issue is going to put a lot of things in perspective for them. And I also think that that's going to motivate the young base. And we'll see how that all plays out. And of course, there are Senate elections. We're going to dive into those Senate elections coming up probably later this week. For now, peace out.